Welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight. Now, following President Donald Trump's explosive meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky earlier this week, which sent geopolitical shockwaves all around the world, and wasn't it riveting TV, by the way, calls to cancel President Trump's state visit to the UK are growing louder. Prominent politicians and military leaders are now calling for the arrangements to be put on hold until the US president has made assurances about Ukraine's security in the face of Russia's aggression. With even royal experts warning that a Trump visit now risks embarrassing the monarchy. However, a source close to the president last night warned it would be, quote, very unwise for the UK to rescind the invitation. So the question is, the US president's Oval Office outburst, was it too big to ignore? And would cancelling Trump's state visit damage the special relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States? We're joined now by Labour peer Lord George Faulkes on this. Good evening, Lord George Faulkes. Thank you for your company.
Hello, Ben. Glad to see you've still got your job. A lot of them, you're losing them at your station.
I don't know. We've still got an hour and a half. I might say something yet to get myself cancelled. You never know. What's your take on this? People are saying if we rescind Trump's invitation, that's just going to absolutely destroy any relationship we have left with the United States.
I think that's right. I don't think we should rescind it, but I think it will take some time to prepare for it, to get everything set up. And by that time, hopefully everything will have calmed down and we'll be well on the way towards a solution of this problem. Hopefully a peace deal backed up by Europe, supported by the United States. And I think that then, in 6 or 12 months' time, a state visit would be very appropriate.
What do you make then of some of your parliamentary colleagues who, I mean, the Mail on Sunday front page today, for me, was extraordinary, coming out and calling for the state visit to be postponed or even cancelled in some cases. You had Richard Dearlove, the former head of MI6, you had Tobias Ellwood saying the same. That kind of rhetoric surely isn't helpful. I mean, do they not think before they contribute to stories like this?
I think most of them are talking about it being postponed and to let the dust die down and to make sure that things were back on an even keel. I certainly believe that, and I think all of them believe that. I think it was only the editorial of the Daily Mail, and I've got lots of friends who work for it and write for it. I think they just got a bit carried away and built up their editorial. But hopefully they'll now come round to the view that things, thanks to the statesmanship of Keir Starmer, things are on the right tracks now. And it's very interesting that Keir Starmer has been praised for his statesmanship by Kimi Badenoch, by Sir Ed Davey. Your friend Farage, Nigel Farage, doesn't seem to be able to bring himself to praise the Prime Minister for the wonderful work he's done. I mean, he really is quite an awful man that he can't bring himself to recognise what everyone else seems to be recognising.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C-18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
Who's awful, sorry? Nigel Farage?
Nigel Farage, yes.
I mean, what do you want him to say? I mean, what has Starmer achieved then, George? What's he done so far? What has he achieved? He's welcomed leaders to Downing Street. He's done a speech at the Dispatch Box, and he's gone off for a posh dinner somewhere with all the leaders. What's he achieved beyond that?
Well, I think Kenny Badenoch and Sir Ed Davey and a whole range of other people, Conservatives, Liberal Democrats, many other people.
I think they're all Liberal Democrats, actually.
No. Just because they don't support GB News. But, you know, you're really a front for reform. We know that. And, you know, I'm doing a nice favour by coming on and talking to you. But that's
funny.
Let
me address
you
that.
need some balance. I was glad you had Andy on your panel.
Andy's a good lad. George,
when I was listening to you at 9 o'clock, he was the only one that talked sense and honesty. And he got his facts right about...
Let me respond, George. So the first year or two of GB News, we were called Tory TV. Then the haters call us a front for reform. I mean, you've got the likes of Miriam Cates here, who I don't think is a big fan of reform. She's penned columns on the GB News website saying how that they don't really have many policies. That time will tell whether they're capable of government. I don't believe she thinks they are. You've got the likes of Gloria De Piero, the former Labour MP, Jacob Rees-Mogg. I mean, what makes you think that this is reform TV?
I don't know. I mean, maybe because Farage is one of your regular interviewers. I mean, regular presenters, and maybe because of the things you say, and maybe because he says things that support your station. I don't know. I think a lot of other people come round to the same point.
Sounds
of
a bit flimsy, George. With respect to you,
I'm not the only person who's saying that. But anyway, Ben, you're doing a good job so far. Except I listened to you at 9 o'clock, and I was counting the mistakes, the factual mistakes you made. I think I got up to 25. Well, you said 4,000 pensioners had died. Because of
let me interrupt you there. I said by Labour's own research, your own party, Lord Faulkes, when they're in opposition, they commissioned their own research saying that if the Tories scrapped the winter fuel allowance, up to 4,000 pensioners would die. That was your party, my good friend.
No. No, yes. You said 4,000 pensioners had died. And in fact,
I know what I said because I wrote it.
I was one of the first people to criticise my own government for the winter fuel allowance decision. I wrote an article in The Guardian. But in fact, what they've done is they've taken account of these criticisms. And we now have got a lot of pensioners who've signed on for pension credit. And on the 1st of April, because of the triple lock, pensioners will get the biggest increase they've ever had. So, you know, you've got to get the balance right. And I'm afraid GB News, with the greatest of respect, doesn't seem always to get the balance right. And Ben, as I say, I listened to you were wrong on the boats, for example. Andy corrected you. I was absolutely right on the boats. We've been sending more and more people back to their country.
OK, let's talk about that then, Lord Faulkes. Lord Faulkes, let's talk about that then. So you're sending more people back. Let me tell you who you're sending back. They've got Sajid Javid's brother, who is now head of the deportations department at the Home Office. They are sending back, and there's a specific term which I don't know off the top of my head, but it's essentially low-hanging fruit. It's the Vietnamese nail bar workers. It's the Albanians who aren't fleeing from war and persecution. So fine, you're sending some people back. Most of the time you're actually paying for them to go back as well. But at the same time, you haven't smashed the gangs, and there's more coming in from the southern border. 500 today, Lord Faulkes, a record for a single day. So with respect, that's 3 points you've given me there. You've talked about pensioners. That was your own research. So I mean, do you accept that you were wrong in trying to pick me up on that?
No.
Well, you said, Lord Faulkes, that I claimed 4,000 pensioners had died. I've corrected you because I wrote that introduction. It was Labour's own research. So
you didn't say Labour's own research. You just said 4,000 pensioners had died because of that. I listened to you very carefully, and
I'm sure you did.
We're
meant to be speaking about Donald Trump's state visit, Lord Faulkes. This has turned into a debate about the GB News and Labour.
The whole tenor of your introduction was one attacking the Labour Party, attacking the government. And, for instance, the other thing you said was about the money being spent in the United Kingdom and the money being spent in Ukraine. As Andy pointed out, the money that's going to Ukraine is money from the Russian assets that have been sequestered, that have been
that was yesterday's
taken
money.
here.
2.2.
And I raised that in the House of Lords last week in terms of the money for the sale of Chelsea Football Club that Abramovich got. Money,
Lord Faulkes,
that's the kind of money that's being used to build up Ukraine.
The 2.2 billion was yesterday that they announced. Rachel Reeves sat there signing the documentation with Zelensky. That was from frozen Russian assets. There's a further 1.6 billion, which is what I was referencing today in the introduction.
That is guarantees for weapons that are going to be made by workers in Belfast, providing jobs for British people, United Kingdom people in the north of Ireland. So get it right. You really do seem to want to undermine everything that the government does.
Lord Faulkes.
Let's get some balance.
Are the government not allowed to be held to account in this country? Is that what you're saying?
Of course, but on the basis of facts, on the basis of reality,
well,
and not on the basis
respect,
of a
you've
diatribe.
tried to pick me up on multiple points and you failed on all of them. Well, I'll say that with respect. We'll end on that.
I haven't. And Andy picked you up on 2 or 3.
Andy was wrong. He's sitting next to me and he knows he's wrong. He's always wrong.
Good. I'm glad you've got him. I've not met him. I'm looking forward to meeting him sometime. I'm glad you've got him on your programme. But you need more people like that. You tend to have people who agree with you all the time.
Lord Faulkes, I extend the invitation to you to come on my show next week, the week after, whenever you're free, to come and sit on the panel alongside Andy or whoever else. It'd be great to do battle with you again. Fancy that?
I'll do it when I'm down in London. I'm on my way tomorrow morning.
OK. All right, Lord George Faulkes, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Have a good week.
Ben. Very nice to talk to you.
Cheers. That was entertaining, wasn't it? I enjoyed that. It was good. Correct me if I'm wrong. What do you think? gbnews.com/your say. Did he defeat me there on any of those points? I don't think he did.